Retroid has begun unveiling their newest retro handheld, a premium 4x3 OLED device. I made a video yesterday about why I was excited for it, but as of today, we've already gotten the full specs and pricing. So this video is going to be a quick follow-up to that. There was a lot of interest in this device. I'm going to talk about what we learned and my current thoughts. The main thing with this device is the 4.5-inch custom AMOLED display, 120 Hz. It's going to be great for retro scaling with old retro systems, and I'm really excited about it, so let's get into it. So the price is finally here. It's going to come in 8 and 12 gigabyte variants with either black, 16-bit, or GameCube colorways or transparent colorways. The transparent colorways are $5 more. The 8 gigabyte black, 16-bit, and GameCube are $229, and the 12 gigabyte black, 16-bit, and GameCube colorways are $269. When these prices were revealed on Discord, the transparent colorways were actually hidden behind the upper tier pricing. But since community feedback, Retroid actually dropped the prices, which I think is really awesome. So a lot of people were hoping that this device was going to be a little cheaper, but I think with the inclusion of the custom screen and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, it's no surprise that this is a flagship pricing model. Now the 8 gigabyte base at $229 I think is actually amazing. If I remember correctly, the Retroid Pocket 6 launched in January of this year at $229 with similar specs. And at that time, it was the cheapest retro handheld to include a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And in the current storage and RAM climate, Retroid just released this device at the same base price of $229. So for me, I'm really excited about this. And I think that Retroid is setting a standard for the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 at reasonable prices. But here are the full specs. I mentioned the 4.5-inch AMOLED 120 Hz display. They recently announced active cooling, a 5,000 milliamp battery, Wi-Fi 7, and the dimensions, which are kind of similar to a shorter Retroid Pocket 4, and the weight is 255 grams. So I think this thing is going to be pretty lightweight, and hopefully it's ergonomic. And as we touched on, it comes in the 8 gigabyte and 12 gigabyte RAM models. I just want to point your attention, the product page is up. However, the device is not yet live. Pre-orders are supposed to start Friday, June 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So you can just check out the information on Retroid's website. So Retroid released that the Nova will have a 5,000 milliamp battery and active cooling. I think 5,000 milliamps is similar to what was in the Retroid Pocket 5, so this is on par with similar retro handhelds, and I think the battery life is going to be pretty good. The Nova has a smaller 4.5-inch screen, which has a less dense pixel area, and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is pretty energy efficient. So hopefully on lower settings, we can get really good battery life out of this thing. We're gonna have to wait for real testing to see how battery life, thermals, and fan noise actually plays out. The dimensions and weight on the Nova are pretty interesting. Retroid released a ergonomic grip shell option, which you'll have to install yourself, but it adds ergonomic bumps to the back of the Nova. Now the community was kind of split on the shape of the device. Some wanted it to be more pocketable, like the flat back you see here, similar to the RP4, and some wanted ergonomic bumps. So this option, which will actually be included with pre-orders, solves that, and I'm really interested to see how the ergonomics between the two compare. And you can see that the flat back option is 15.6 millimeters wide, whereas the ergonomic option adds over 10 millimeters to the bumps on the back, while only increasing the weight from 255 to 260 grams. So the device comes in the 8 gigabyte and 12 gigabyte RAM model, and I think for me, the 8 gigabyte model is gonna be plenty. It's a better value, and I think it's gonna be enough for most retro emulation, everything from PS1 to GameCube and PS2. The 12 gigabyte model will give you extra headroom for things like PC emulation, those higher end Switch games, Android gaming, and future-proofing, but I don't think most people will be going with the 12 gigabyte model, especially because it doesn't come with more storage. I'm really looking forward to using this device for 4x3 systems. PS1 N64, Dreamcast. I kind of grew up playing the N64, so that's really nostalgic for me. And then also trying PS2 and GameCubes with texture packs and things like that. And of course, using CRT shaders, black frame insertion, and integer scaling. I'm also interested in playing indie PC games on this, which I've been made aware there are a lot of indie games that are actually 4x3, so that's really awesome. And then, for these use cases, the 8GB RAM model is plenty. The caveat to that is storage. So with 128GB storage, texture packs and indie games are going to eat that up really quickly. So I think you'll definitely want a micro SD card. I touched on this in my video yesterday in depth, but the reason I'm so excited about this device is in part due to the 4x3 integer scaling of PlayStation, N64, and Dreamcast. The device is going to give 4x integer scaling with no black bars. This is Sean Inman's website where you can look at screen ratios and how different systems will be displayed. And for these systems and many other retro systems, you get a lot of screen area being used to display the games. And so this is really going to be awesome. As I mentioned, pre-orders are going to start this Friday, June 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern, New York time. Retroid is expected to drop a video showcasing the Nova with the Retroid dual screen add-on. That should be today. And then real-life images are expected to come in July. And this is all information that was announced in the Discord. A lot of people are excited at the prospect of Retroid using this custom screen to make a dual screen device in the future. And so I think that that could be really interesting. And then in terms of real life images, there have often been mismatches between the stock photos and the real photos of these devices in the past. So especially for those transparent shells, it'll be nice to actually see how the lighting and the real material quality turns out. And again, just to provide some grounding, I'm really excited about this device. So these videos have been very positive, but we do want to actually see the device in real life. How are the battery, thermals, the fan noise? For me, the D-pad and the buttons are huge. The feel is important, and I really don't like the clackiness, for example, that I noticed on my RP5. And then how is the custom screen? This is the mortgage screen. It seems like it's going to be really awesome. How will it actually look and perform in practice? Will the latency be good? Will the vibrancy be good? How will it feel to play? I'm really excited about the inclusion of the optional ergonomic back. I'm looking forward to testing that out myself. I like that Retroid is starting to issue these options. Like for example, the RP6 had the option to do stick top or bottom. I think that's really smart and would love if they kept doing things like that moving forward. So after the reveals this week, I think the price is better than I expected. I'm probably going to go with the base model for the best value. I think the 12GB is even more niche. The ergonomic shell options are smart. I think overall the device seems to have been designed well, and I'm really interested in seeing how that screen looks. But I want to know what you think. What do you think about the price? What are you going to go for in terms of the options? Do you think that they made the right decision with the combination of chipset, RAM, and storage? What about the shell options and other specs? And then what use cases are you looking forward to? Additionally, the pre-order shipping timeline can often be pretty difficult to navigate and wait for. So when do you guys expect this to actually launch? Please let me know in the comments. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Have a good one.